Well, this is a bizarre schedule. Just talking to Mex, and seems like we go from the 11 and 33. It seems almost worse this week. It just tried to get on the road recruiting a little bit last night and try to get some things done. But coming off the big win, the environment was great. Players played really well defensively. I did think that. Even though it's a quick turnaround, we got to figure out how we shoot the ball a little better. That was the only negative with the game. I thought the turnovers were decent. Rebounding was pretty good. We just missed some shots, but I think they were shots that our best shooters take, and they're going to have to make them. But we leave today. We play Wisconsin on tomorrow. We play Illinois on Friday and Purdue on Monday. So it's a lot of quick turnarounds for new teams that we're going to play. When you're playing it for the second time, it's always easier. When you're playing for the first time, the prep is more difficult. So we brought our guys in this morning. We're trying to get through some things today, game time tomorrow. But this will be our first time on the road in more than a month. So there's a lot of strange things about the schedule this year. But as I told our guys, we've been battle tested. We played some of the best teams in the country. We played back-to-back games. We played games with 1 day prep, with 2 days prep. So I think we're at least tested for this. As far as Wisconsin goes, they had won 3 in a row. They had a tough loss at Illinois, but a lot of people are going to have a tough loss at Illinois, and they were without Wall, who I think will play tomorrow, but don't know. But to go down there and play them like they did, and a good Illinois team. Wisconsin's for real. The kid Kroll has stepped up. On Saturday, I think he had one of his best games, 20 and 12. I think he's averaging 18 and 7 or something like that. In the last 5 games, they're always very experienced. Though they do have one freshman that's playing well for them. They are always very tough and solid and fundamental. They never turn the ball over. It's illegal in the cheese state. So all those things combined means that we're going to have to play solid. We're going to have to play well. We're going to have to take care of the ball ourselves. And we're going to have to probably shoot the ball a little better than we have. But as I looked at our film from Saturday's game, as I look at Wisconsin, watching a couple of their games, I'm convinced that the league, we've all said it, is the best maybe ever been as far as top to bottom. Where that means as far as the best teams, it's hard for me to say, but we'll have our work cut out this week, and it starts tomorrow night. So questions, I'll take them.
You just referenced it there a little bit. We feel like we've talked about a lot with this conference, but does it almost make it a little bit easier for you that there's no way any of these guys can think there's going to be like no matter the name, the record, whatever, they've got to be dialed in every night regardless of who they're playing.
Yeah, and that's where I'm hoping that what we went through helps a little bit. We felt like we had one disastrous week. The Notre Dame, Northwestern, 5 days there was disastrous for us. It's hard to practice. We didn't play very well. We didn't play with any emotion. And so we're trying to learn our own lessons from that. Some of it was in the travel. Some of it was the way teams played against us. But yeah, I don't think we'll have to worry about anybody being overconfident about anything. I've never seen it. I've been in this league, and I've been at when we were, I think one year, a couple years ago, there were 5 of us in the top 10 or 4 for sure. And I said, wow, and yet I think the league is better today than it was then. Just maybe doesn't have quite the star power, but it's got so many teams that have played good people too. I think a lot of teams now are playing better people, but now there'll be nobody. I'm not getting any sleep, so hopefully our players are but aren't, because I don't think anybody will be thinking, hey, we can go here and win, we can go here and win, we can go here and win.
This is one of the most experienced teams you've got in a couple of years here. Is this the type of stretch where you think that could maybe They help you guys. You guys won Wisconsin,
Yeah.
they won Illinois. You rely on that.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that a little bit. Unfortunately, you know, I still don't know. I mean, I don't know where Malik is for two reasons. You know, I don't know if anybody watched that, man. He rolled that thing. Got on film. I said it was more scary than the next morning. I called him right away after I watched the film that night because the way he rolled it, that outside of his ankle was almost on the floor. But he's doing pretty good. He practiced some yesterday. There was no damage to the foot. Now it's the ankle a little bit. But getting him back full in the next 2 weeks is going to be the biggest part because he's just so versatile. He can help us in so many ways. But I think the experience AJ and Tyson and Joey and even Marty have is going to help us some. The problem is, you know, you look at a Wisconsin, you know, the Crawl kid is really, you know, he's been around there a while. He's getting better and better, and they've got some other guys that have really stepped up. Hepburn is one of the most improved players in the league by far. I mean, there was a time we played him the first time we didn't even guard him, and now he's their, you know, their best player, but definitely one of the better scorers in the league. So experience will help, but other teams have some experience too, and you know, there's still times when we got a couple freshmen on the floor. I think Wisconsin might do that once, so they've got some experience also. Illinois, I haven't even thought about yet.
So, Tom, to that point, with the young guys in an environment, probably not an environment quite like Wisconsin or Illinois that you probably haven't faced yet. But when you look back at like the film with Michigan and Jackson against Hunter, first half versus second half, and are you seeing sort of growth and sea legs coming together as you watch it?
Yeah, I am seeing growth in Jackson. I am seeing some growth in even Pierre. You know, Jaden, I think, is getting back to normal. I mean, I thought that was his best defensive game. You know, now we got to get him going offensively. I mean, there's always something. But when you miss the amount of times those two guys missed, they said it would take some time, and it does. And, you know, so we're trying to do a lot of things there. But the growth I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot of it. I think Jackson is getting better. He figured out what to do a little bit more. You know, we did a decent job on Dickerson. I mean, he got 7 late at 3 in those 2. But, you know, I think for the most part, he never really went on fire, you know, like he can do, and hit 3, 4 in a row. So, you know, we did a decent job, but we got a lot of work to do. And in this game, you know, we've had guards like Penn State that back you down. We've had guards like Villanova that back you down. Now we got bigs. They kind of do like Hap, you know, not quite like him because Kroll can shoot a 3 and do it. But, you know, I think what you have with both those guys is their bigs can really do that. And so then you got to make decisions. And yet they're one of the second best teams in the league at hitting threes. They've hit over 9 a game. So it's that same old deal where do you take away the post and give up a 3? And that's what we've been battling with all morning with our staff. So looking at different coverages for different things.
We're, 4 games into the Big Ten schedule right now. You guys, I think 3 of them you've given up under 60 points. I guess you mentioned the other day about what the ceiling of this team could be, but from a defensive standpoint, what's the ceiling? I mean, because obviously those are pretty good numbers with competition.
I think we're going to get better because I think Malik is maybe the best defender now. AJ has turned into that, and that means we can put a guy on a guy. You know, can he guard Hepburn? He's had a guard every one of the great, you know, we put him on Howard, you know, we put him on Pickett, you know. I mean, when you got a lockdown guy that's done a pretty good job like that, that helps. But I think Malik brings a whole nother dimension to it, you know, where he can help other people. AJ can take care of his person. Malik can help other people be better. So I think they're still a ceiling we haven't reached defensively, which is really encouraging because our defensive numbers in the conference have been really, really good. And it's not like we play teams that don't score a lot of points because some of those teams do. So that's the most encouraging part. When you defend better, you rebound better. Rebounding's gone up also. Now, if we could take the defend better, rebound better, and the running better, that would, the trifecta then you have all three of them. You know, we've had to keep our point guard in more because we weren't rebounding the ball very well. I think if more Malik gets back, the more we'll rebound better, the more we rebound better, the more we run better, the more we run better, the more we are better. So all these things are part of the process that we've had to kind of negotiate, change our system a little bit, change our style a little bit, because, you know, when Jaden and Malik were out for all those weeks, and it wasn't just the games, you know, I mean, Jaden missed 13 weeks, so, you know, you couldn't practice the same. Malik has, more or less, he just started practicing. I mean, probably missed 10 weeks of practice, so you try to get that back too, and now we get into this stretch, which I don't know if I'm forgetting or if I just don't remember having Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Sunday. It seems like we very seldom are getting an extra day even to get a day off. I mean, we're gonna have to petition the NCAA because you can't take a day off and you got 4 games in 9 days, you know, and so it's it makes it harder to practice, and so getting Malik and them back, we had to do it during the game, and that's not always as good. So those are the challenges we have, but I do think defensively is the reason we've become a better team. We're a better defensive team than last year already, and I think we've got more to go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Coach, with you guys being 11-4 now, wins over Kentucky, Villanova, and now over rival Michigan, can you talk about the resiliency the team is showing? You just said like a few injuries you guys have had so far this year, but still being able to collect wins and with still a good chunk of the season left.
Well, we've been able to collect some good wins, and we'll see what we do on the road. We'll see what we do. As you say, there's no bad teams in the league. None. You know, everybody will say, well, Minnesota and their record, but now they got 2 guys back that were out, and they played 2 teams right to the wire here, Nebraska and I think it was Wisconsin. So, I mean, there's so much work to do, and if it's been confusing in the meetings for me, when you go into a meeting and with your staff and you try to figure out who's what, who's where, and how did you play against this team and that team, that's been more difficult. I think there's, you know, Purdue has done an unbelievable job, and yet they were down to the wire in 3 games, you know, and now good teams find a way to win those games. But when I say down to the wire, I'm talking 1-point games. And so I'm feeling good about our resiliency. I'm feeling good about how we came out of the injuries. I'm feeling good about, you know, how we came out of that tough schedule. I'm feeling bad when I look at the next week. In fact, awful. You know, it just seems like the wave just keeps. I mean, even in the NBA, there's some bad teams somebody will play against. You know, I'm trying to think, where is ours? And then you know, that old thing about who you play once and twice is still going to come into fruition, and then who's healthy, who's not, including us. I mean, so many factors this year, but it just seems like the games are. I don't know if the year's been shrunk, if we've lost some, you know, is it leap year this year? Or it just seems like we have so many more games so much faster. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's the way I feel. You tired, Fred? Over that?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Illinois and Wisconsin on the road are tough in any year, so those, I hate this question, but those 2 in Purdue, would you take 2 out of 3 right now?
If you hate the question, why the hell would you ask me?
Because I'm curious. If I offered you 2 out of 3 right now, would you take that?
I hate the answer, but I think I would, you know? Now that doesn't go to my team, so block out. They don't watch TV anyway. So anyway, you know, it's, I mean, you're gonna go into every year, hoping to win your home games and split on the road, you know? Now as the conference has gotten bigger, I probably won't win you a championship, you know? So you gotta win your home games and steal a game or 2 on the road. But anytime you can win 2 out of 3 against, I think every coach would take that, you know, and I just wouldn't want to admit it because you have some alum will be ticked off or players will be thinking. So So you just got me in trouble. I appreciate that, but I think that's been the motto the whole time. You know, is when we played 18 games, especially, or 16 games. You know, try to be 5-4 on the road, try to win your home games, and you get a chance to win the league. And this year, as I said, I still don't know who's not playing who, so I know who it is, but I just haven't sat down and figured it out. But I don't know how many games it'll take to win the league. I mean, you know, you look right now, I mean, Purdue's doing a hell of a job, but hell, Northwestern's leading the league right now, aren't they? Are they 4-1?
3-1.
They're 3-1.
Purdue's 4-1.
Oh, Purdue's 4-1. Okay.
Big road wins up.
Yeah, Northwestern. Yeah, 2 big road wins. So.
Also, I'm also wondering, when you have all those alumni back and you talk to them one-on-one, or when Elser or Magic calls you, do you ask them, what do you think of my team? Do you pick their brain and all
Well,
that?
Magic calls his brother and tells us. Mateen leans over and tells me. But it was funny because I did talk to Gregory after the game, and you know, I think everybody's giving the same thing that you're probably giving, that I'm probably giving. There's something you like about the team, and yet it's not your typical team where you know there's 1 or 2 guys that are leaving for the NBA after, for sure. And but it's been, I told you it was a fun team to work with this summer. It's been a fun team to coach. Yeah, there's been its frustrating moments, but what's really fun is I'm seeing some guys growing. And you know, there's no doubt AJ's growing. There's no doubt Marty is growing. There's no doubt Joey has grown. You know, Jaden is a big key here. It's just criminal that he had the 13 weeks off because he had such a great summer. But he'll bounce back, and then I think you're gonna, you know, it's been fun to watch Tyson grow. You know, we've had a lot of guys that I think have made some progress, which should happen in a developmental program, you hope, and you stick to the process a little bit. So still got a lot of games left, but I do like where we've been, even in some of the losses. I've liked how we've competed and how we've kind of handled the defeat, just like how we've handled victories. I think it's been good, but there's so much basketball left.
Tom, I want to go back to the mantra, defend, rebound, run, like you talked about. Obviously you want to improve in all 3 facets, but you guys are defending and rebounding pretty well, especially in the last 6 games. But the running aspect, statistically not quite there yet where you've been in years past. I'm wondering where it falls short in that line of you defend well, you get a rebound. Where is the transition not quite coming?
Well, when you don't defend well, you're taking the ball out of the basket a lot, and you don't run as well. And then if you don't defend well and people are penetrating, you don't normally rebound as well. And if you don't defend and rebound, then you have to make, then you have to change what you do a little bit from a game strategy standpoint. So we went early on, if you saw AJ was getting a lot more rebounds, because we started rebounding with our point guards, well then your break isn't as good usually, you know. So that's why they all kind of go together, you know. And I always said that the best reason we were a very good rebounding team over a lot of years, because we had a little more toughness, because we were allowed to coach that way. But number 2, we did not give up as much dribble penetration. Now the game has gotten so, there's so many ball screens and so much, and if you don't have centers that can do that, or if you can't switch as much, then you're making up for things. You're guarding them different ways. It'd be like in football, you know, if you couldn't play man up, now you play zone. While you play zone, your D-backs, there's more holes, there's more open areas, you know. So you're giving up one to get to the other. And I think the other thing is the consistency of having Jalen and Malik on those wings. You know, that is a big deal. And Jalen runs really well. He's a heck of an athlete. And when we don't have that, then we don't practice that. And then the last one, they might all be excuses. They're all facts in my world. We just didn't get to practice as much of it. And so when you make an adjustment, you say, okay, this team, we're going to Portland, when they're gonna rebound with 5 guys instead of 4, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And then all of a sudden you wanna change it up and you don't have any days to work on it. It gets screwed up, but I think the best thing we've done is we have gotten back to brass tacks. You know, we have gotten back to the way we do it. We are defending better. We are rebounding a little better. We will run better. I think we're executing on offense better. In this one game, we didn't shoot it as well. Now, early on, you can say, well, we were only shooting 45%. You'd like to be up at 48 or something. We played outside. We shot terrible in that game, excuse, fact. We played better teams than a lot of people played early on. And so, you don't get the same kind of looks you get. And I'm hoping all that helps us moving forward.
Tom, you mentioned Tyler Wall at the top, and so you think he might be back. Just what's his importance to this team for Wisconsin, and what'd you notice when he wasn't there versus?
Yeah, Tyler Wall. My staff said it, and it's true. He's a lot like Malik Hall. I think Malik shoots it a little better, but he's a lot like Malik to us. He can guard multiple positions. He can play more than he can play the 3, 4, and 5. I can guard 3, 4, 5, maybe even 2. He brings experience. He's a 4th-year guy. He's just one of those guys, I think, that has gone through their system, which is a very good developmental system also, and he's important. I mean, you're always going to lose some players, but if you lose guys that are kind of the guys that mold everybody else together, that's hard to lose. And so him being out that game, I think, was hard on them. I do, just like us losing the league.
Time for a couple more, Kyle.
Now you mentioned he said a few more shots ball. I want to ask about Marty, some of those looks he had early. When you look back at him, what does he need to do to finish those off?
Well, sometimes we go to him, sometimes we don't go to him as much. It depends how teams are playing. If they're doubling, if they're leaving them down there one-on-one, it's different than if they're kind of doubling or digging in the post. He's that part of his skill, going through 2 people, is still a work in progress. So, I think some of it is us, some of it is him. He's got to keep getting better. We got to keep getting him the ball, but it's, there again goes back to those practices we never had. Hard for him to get better. I know it's hard to understand that or see it, but it's like I've always said about Rocket, since I still love Rocket. He, that summer of no activity of COVID really hurt him here. And, so Marty had the finger, ruined his first summer. He had the COVID, ruined his summer. And now, we've had a good summer. He's gotten better. He is improving, but he needs day-to-day reps, And I think that's hurt him a little bit. But defensively, I think he's gotten way better. I mean, I thought he did a pretty damn good job last game. He's gotten way better on ball screen coverages. We just got to get his offense going a little bit. But that last game, I mean, if we hit some of the shots that Pierre and Joey and Tyson, had, like I said, I told my staff, I thought Michigan played good D. I thought we played good D, but I've never seen 5 unforced air balls in my life. I haven't seen that in a season, and I saw it in a game. But maybe that's because they were jacked up to play. Who knows what the reasons were, because Tyson just came off one of the best games he's had, and Joey shot the ball as good as anybody. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not worried about that. I'd like to have more presence inside, because the other thing that this team could really take a step forward, if we could get to the free throw line more, because I think we're shooting very well. And if we shoot it well and get there more, those are what we tell our players all the time when our opponents, free points. There's not a lot of free points, and those are free points. Nobody defends them. And getting the ball inside more and getting him fouled more, who's shooting better even, but we get in the bonus faster, we do those things, and that would really benefit our team, either driving it better or getting it in there in the post. So that's another area that Malik, we could post him some. We could do both. Malik drives it better. Malik was a serious loss for a variety of reasons. Help your defense, help your rebounding, help you drive it, help you post it, shoot good free throws. That doesn't mean he's Mr. Everything, but he was Mr. Everything to us.
Anything else for Coach?
Can you expand a little bit more about Aikens, what he did on defense, and whether that's probably sustainable?
Yeah, I think when Jaden came back, I mean, Jaden's an offensive player that can play both. And when he came back, if you remember, I think his first game, I think he got up 10 shots, and he thought even his defense, like he was getting driven and things like that. The other night, last 2 games, he's really improved that. And I was watching practice yesterday. Part of it, I think, is his conditioning. You come back and you're not in great shape. Who would be? And now I just see him down more. When he's down, he's as athletic and good as everybody. Plus, he lost a little weight when he was out, and that didn't help him. So Jaden is coming back into his own, and we get that offensive part now back because we have to get him more shots. And that's the other thing about, maybe if they're deficient areas, getting to the free throw line's a deficient area. Offensive rebounding for us has been, he hasn't gone as much, and he's a good one. Malik was a good one, and we need to get there so we can get more shots. Now we got, I don't know how many shots we got up, I guess it's right here somewhere, 56. You'd like to get up 60-some shots, especially if you don't go to the line a lot. Well, part of that is turnovers, part of that is offensive rebounding. And we've improved on our turnovers, so that's another area we've improved on in general. But I think Jaden just, no blow-bys, which I don't see that in the last 2 games that I saw early. And again, I think if you look at NBA or NFL players, and I've said this, the time it takes to come back, and that's if you're practicing every day. When he came back, we really weren't. We got a little time at Christmas. I think Jaden is going to take some serious strides forward because this summer, he might have been our best player, definitely one of our best players.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Jaden should be down in a minute or 2.
Upset about the Packers.
I was disappointed in the Packers. You know why? I would have pulled for the Lions. Okay? But I love